the only kill they could have possibly get in these team fights.
Well, early on here, we're getting ready to go in picks and bans. Game number 2. NRG just 1 game away from punching their ticket to the SMITE Masters LAN. EUnited, they are in the first pick position this time around. They were in the first pick last time as well. They went for the Cabrakan early on. And as you mentioned, Taco, Benji was the focus of quite a bit of the fire from Adapting and Dimmy, but he still did very well in these team fights on the Cabrakan.
He's been doing an excellent job all day long today. It's just, I think it was more so a team falling apart and starting to crumble, considering that 1 or 2 members would get picked at an inopportune time, and then ultimately that would just lead into the onslaught of Adapting and Dimmy, because you've just got Dimmy who's pressing W at you and literally nothing you can do. When the thorns are popped on the Bellona, you're already tanky as all hell, and then you just got Adapting there who's like, hey, I do damage too.
Well, a lot of damage with the crit Nemesis build that he always likes to go for. Fafnir going to be the first ban for EUnited. Bellona actually banned away by NRG, trying to keep that out of Benji's hands. Couple targeted bans here, but well-deserved thus far.
No, I respect it. I really like the Fafnir ban. You know, they didn't respect it in the first time. They first picked a Bracken, left Fafnir on the other side. Fafnir has been picked. I don't know the facts, but I'm telling you the fact from what I remember. He's been picked or banned, I think, almost every game.
Without a doubt. I mean, he was near the top. He was the top Guardian selected during the spring split online phase. Highest pick rate among all Guardians, 35%. That's certainly continued here. Just because of the objective control that he brings, or his team fighting, what makes him so strong?
I think it's how hard he is to kill, on top of what he brings to the table, on top of the front line. He's almost like a warrior in team fights, and he's doing so much damage. He's coming back, buffing his team, and it's also how much gold he has ahead of the other support.
That's the big thing.
A lot of people forget.
Of course, and then the more gold he has, the more protections he gets, and that just feeds into the fact that he's incredibly hard to kill. Still waiting on the second ban right now from EUnited. Either way, they're taking a long, hard think about this one, Taco. Where do you think you would go if you were in EUnited's shoes?
Reasonably so. I would probably opt to take away a jungle ban at this point in time. Maybe the Susanoo or a bots even. They're going to go with a Thor instead. So respect. I mean, Verizio can play. I think that him and Adapting actually have a very similar god pool as far as physical assassins are concerned. So permitting or not allowing the Thor to go through, I think is a pretty smart decision, because that leaves open either the bots or the Susanoo should they want to go that route, and it's a fairly safe play to make.
Scotty, the last ban there for NRG, that's going to leave open Terra that EUnited immediately locks away. Pain de Vion, the main one to play it on EUnited, but Benji could take into the solo lane, but considering how much he seems to like these pressure gods, I don't know if it would fit his style as much.
No, I would like to see Terra on Pain, for sure. On the back ends of this, Scotty was just an auto ban. You had to ban her. You don't want her. You don't want to see her. So I think Terra's been getting through a lot just because of the stable ban of Faf and then a target ban after with Scotty. Rama in response.
Interesting, an early Hunter pick here. ML didn't feel quite as impactful on that Hu Yi, and there's the Susanoo for Adapting right away. EUnited now has to respond against two characters that have had great success here so far this weekend.
I think EUnited need a lot of hard CC now to come through to try and deal with the Susanoo ROM. There's already a decent bit of mobility on that team, and the setup potential that Adapting could potentially provide to anybody on his team really is so terrifying when you think about it. I mean, he's an excellent jungler for getting in the face of his opponent, and Verizio falling back to some old vices with the Bastet and Chaos sticking true to Agni.
Very surprised to see the Bastet this early on, I think, Chapo. Does Bastet have a positive matchup up against Susanoo?
Playing back with the EUnited, thinking about Verizio, he plays the map so well with Bastet. I mean, almost like DJ. I mean, when you think Bastet, you think DJ. And you know, since they picked Susanoo so really early in the draft, even though that's okay because he's such a great god, Bastet doesn't do bad or good versus him, but there's no Willix pick in the counter pick, so I enjoy the Bastet pick.
That's a good point, though. I was kind of surprised. I thought Serket might be the way that Verizio would go. Serket's been pretty much permabanned by NRG in particular. They seem to really value that Egyptian assassin, but either way, Bastet, a different Egyptian assassin going to be in the hands of Verizio. Scylla going to be the matchup that Chaos has to deal with in the mid lane. Neither of these these mages do particularly well in the early stages, but both can be very potent as the game goes on.
And I feel as though the real mindset behind this Bastet is to try and disorient NRG as much as possible. You can already tell from their first 3 picks, there's a ton of potential in these team fighting scenarios.
Bans coming in from NRG, Osiris, and Hu Yi. They're worried about Panda Cat taking that one, but no Cupid ban. A little bit interesting there. A couple characters that can get shut down by that Fields of Love. Khepri going to be the last ban again, targeting out Raffer with 3 Guardian bans. EUnited trying to make Raffer go deep into his God pool. But the first one I'm thinking of here, Taco, Ymir. Ymir could be really potent here.
There's Ymir, there's also Sylvanas.
Sylvanas, yep.
It's just the early game clear potential that they could have with either of those gods is incredible. And with the Sylvanas, they could have the sustain to match up with that of Terra's, because I'm almost certain that's going to be Terra going the way of Pain de Beyond, because Benji doesn't like not being able to slap box, and putting him on a god that isn't going to be as aggressively played, I think is more of a detriment to the team than anything else.
Well, Raffer does not want that early pressure provided by neither Ymir or Sylvanas. Instead, it's going to be the Bacchus, adding even more damage to this team that has plenty of it already.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about it, I like the 2 bans, 2 defensive supports, because you think about Bastet and Agni, they can kill your backline, they can get into your backline. And, you know, getting the 2 defensive supports out means he has to sort to Bacchus, which is like kind of in the middle. He can peel, but he could also go all in. So, respectful pick.
Amaterasu locked in for EUnited. That could be either way to Pain de Beyond. He played it last game in the support role, but Benji, known for his aiming play, probably going to see that warrior in the solo lane. We're waiting on Panda Cat's selection now. We know exactly what his duo lane matchup is going to be.
On her.
Bacchus and Ram, he's going to respond with the on her.
On her 100%, because it's probably his best opportunity for aggression against Emil in that duo lane. We already saw them boxing off one time last game, and Panda Cat came out on top there, so I imagine that Emil definitely wants some revenge and is going to be looking to play aggressive.
Erlong Shen, the last selection there for Demi, a god that he has played numerous times here at LAN. Very, very comfortable. When it comes to pressure for Demi, Erlong Shen seems to be the pick. NRG's 1 game away. Taco, you think they're going to make it to Masters in this game right here?
In all honesty, their draft is sick in my opinion, and that looks like a draft that gets ahead early and doesn't stop.
Chapo, your
I'm going to have to go with EUnited. I see a lot of comfort picks, and I really enjoy it. I want to see them play at the top of the game right now. See if they can pull one off.
Hopefully we can get to a game 3. Either way, Tom and Toli, they're going to bring you the action.
Bastet is one of my favorite assassins. I think she's a one-size-fits-all god. I don't think that she is in a position where she has to be a specific matchup, and I think she's severely undervalued across the league because of the opposite thought process. I'm very excited to see Verizial on this character, and I think he's going to crush.
I expect a lot of crushes to be onto Verizial, actually. Once you find that root cripple, it's going to be difficult to lock yourself away into safety unless you invest into that purification beads. Either way, though, like we saw heard on the desk ride, a lot of comfort picks coming out of EUnited. This Terra Amaterasu, more than likely going to be on Benji for this Amaterasu finally, whereas we're going to see more control in the early 3v3 skirmishes coming out of Pain de Beyond.
I think the Agni is going to be a big deal. Chapo nailed it before when he said, hey man, the ability for EUnited to get to the back line, incredible. Agni, Bastet, no problem. They have long-range abilities. Even the on her ultimate is going to go through whoever's trying to block that nonsense.
The question is, can they survive the early pressure coming out of NRG, adapting on this Zeus and Yamin, playing the Scylla? That's great follow-up burst damage out of every single pull. Emilito avoiding the crush stun from Pain de Beyond, looking like they're going to be pretty comfortable.
Chaos here taking a little bit of poke. He's got to be careful of Demi, who's right here in the jungle, ready to wrap around. I think Chaos is aware of it. That's why he's playing it safe. The minions coming up, and Demi instead going to look towards the blue buff, as that's where the Amaterasu Benji plans on starting.
Trying to maybe get some little minions. Chaos going to be able to dash in, but taking a lot of damage in return. Yamin forced to use the Aegis, and just like that, adapting with the first blood.
Verizial trying to finish things off, but what is you doing? Chaos offensively dashes level 1. I mean, so let me talk to you about this one. Chaos actually discussed this with the starter item of the Vamp Shroud and the Tiny Trinket. You combine that with a health pot and a multi-pot. Raffer getting some poked out, getting some poke here. Might turn into some violence, so we'll hold that thought process for a moment. Hunters now taking down each other, and the supports dealing with each other as well.
And just like that, the Verizio getting responded. What happened to Chaos now happening to
Pain.
Verizio, but Pain's not done yet. Trying to find the stun, but Emilito finding the Astrals through it. Getting off to a great start. Energy with already 2 kills.
So here's the thought process on the Agni. You have the Vamp Shroud, you have the Tiny Trinket, you've got the Health Pot, you got the Multi-Pot. You dash aggressively through the wave, you take a lot of damage from the archers, but it all heals up because of everything I just mentioned. Well, that works on paper, but when 2 players attack you in addition to that, you just die because you're Agni without a dash.
Especially if the archers are still alive poking you out. You don't have necessarily the full damage at level 1 here. Bastet and Agni apparently didn't clear out the archers fast enough. I'm sure if you look at the death recap for Chaos, quite a lot of damage. But either way, though, also going for the purification beads on the Agni. Had he went for the Aegis, might have survived that.
I love that play at a Raffer. You see the jump come in from the on-her player, Pandacat, knocks up Emilito, lands a couple of basics, had that impale hit, it would have killed him, but it would have poked Emilito out. Raffer makes sure to take the damage from the impale, protecting his Hunter. Somebody on the desk, I think it was Taco, said that this composition for Energy looks like the comp that gets ahead and doesn't fall behind. Well, in minute 1, they had 2 kills on an Arlong Shen and a Susano. I'm with Taco.
I'm absolutely on the same exact bandwagon because the first kill was for adapting onto Chaos. Second kill was Dimmy onto Verizio. Now both your mid and jungler shut down a little bit for EUnited, so I'm expecting a lot of early rotations from Energy towards the solo side jungle coming out of EUnited, wanting to maybe strip away some speed buffs because adapting, whenever he loses his own speed buff, you can guarantee he's looking for that retaliation.
Pandacat is going to be the person that EUnited has to look at, I'm pretty sure. I mean, Chaos right now, he's not down and out by any stretch of the imagination, but that first blood certainly wasn't a good look. Pandacat on the on-her is a character that's going to hit his stride towards the mid-game, the early mid-game specifically. So I think that's where you want to focus if you're an EUnited fan. You want to hope the Pandacat gets off to a nice start and can help carry EUnited along the way.
Ooh, Verizio, though, in a world of hurt, I'm a monster through the wall, and Typhoon knocking up Chaos, not able to really use those bombs for the stun.
Really close to being the second casualty there. But Yaman will settle for 101 on the mid laner, known as Yaman.
And the timing of this, Benji, though, using the ultimate just to clear, not able to intercept the dash out of Benji. Speed buff is respawning momentarily, and still level 4 is Verizio off of 2 really early deaths.
So let's talk Bumba's Mask. There's 5 in the game. 3 on the right side of Energy. You've got 1 on the jungler, obviously. But then you also have 1 on the mid-mage, which is not too out of the ordinary. But 1 on the support is kind of interesting. Nice little help from Chaos there over the wall, trying to help out the jungler successfully. Talk to me about the support using the Bumba's Mask.
The Bumba's Mask for the supports is just relying on these rotations, sitting with the Hunter. Obviously, the Hunter is not getting the Bumba's Mask, so as long as you are the only one within the vicinity with the Bumba's Mask, you're going to be the receiving beneficiary of the health and mana return. But Benji, on the worser end of things, taking the tower is Demi, getting the kill is adapting.
4 minutes, 4 kills for Energy. This is what we call a tidal wave. Energy certainly surfing this one to the end. This one's going to be short and sweet, I really think. EUnited are on all of their comfortable gods, but Energy, they're just mad. They don't like to lose, Toli, and they're in the losers bracket, and they're just beating up whoever walks in front of them.
Energy is one of these teams where if you give them a lead, they're going to run away with it. But if they're still behind about 5 to 10,000 gold, they have the tools at their disposal to find ways to get back into the game.
They're up 1,500 in 5 minutes. I don't think they're down. I don't think they're going to be down at all during this one. Benji, also one of these players that has an odd man Bumba's Mask, and that one I like that a little bit more than I like on the support. This is an Amaterasu, and EUnited have relinquished control of the solo lane. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. It made sense, though, for the Amaterasu to pick up the Bumba's Mask because he tried to go for the blue buff, but Demi, recognizing this, saw the itemization choice out of the solo laner from EUnited, contested the blue buff, and Bumba's Mask isn't really helping you out in the laning phase.
Not at all. One positive about the Bumba's Mask is that Benji, like I said, EUnited just said, look, you're going to lose that lane, have fun. we're never going to go over there and help you, so buy the Bumba's Mask. Every blue buff is going to be by yourself. Whatever you do in the jungle is by yourself. Benji, just deal. So I actually really like the Bumba's Mask in this specific scenario on the solo lane. By no means is it a every game purchase, but that's what SMITE is about. Niche items, niche scenarios, buy things when you need them. Benji makes a good choice.
Demi not able to intercept the dash with his own taunt ultimate. Pain Devion finding the route onto Raffer. Panicat looking for the follow, but Pain taking a lot of poke.
Nice stun out of the mid lane mage, and Verizio gets the last hit on iRaffer. EUnited on the board, but adapting very quickly. Shuts down the cat. Shots from the sky are going to chase Pain Devion out. On the right-hand side, Panicat dodges the route, and that will be that. NRG find another one, but so do EUnited. It's 5-1.
But trading out your support for the jungler that already has 2 deaths earlier on, finding the third NRG, capitalizing very efficiently in their deaths. Return killing onto this Bastet that's still a level 6, whereas adapting, sitting at level 8, just waiting for this respawn timer.
And that's pretty much what we're going to see here a lot. Is NRG just waiting in EUnited's jungle because there's really nothing EUnited can do about it. This lead now stretched out to about 1,000, and I mean, at the moment, 1,000 doesn't seem like much. 7 on the clock, but that is just going to continue to grow as EUnited have no control over their own jungle. As long as NRG get these laps and these respawns of the jungle, that lead will just grow.
We're seeing the early pressure from NRG just because of the early lack of pressure coming out of EUnited between their mid jungle. Bastet and Agni is 2 of the gods that you want to take into the late game. And they're not necessarily the strongest gods right off the bat at level 1, which is why we saw NRG just dominate so heavily.
With that in mind, Yaman playing the Scylla, this is actually one of the characters that you can afford to go less pressure into, but unfortunately it didn't work out. Team fight on the right-hand side. Agni drops 2 bombs. Demi's in trouble. Stunned, but he's brought back up thanks to a heal. Chaos takes him out with a passive. Nice play from the Hot Mage. Adapting, continuing his reign of terror, finds his 4th kill right here in minute 8.
Oh, nice little juke from Pain Devion. The Storm Kata connecting, not finding the pull though, forced into the egg is Verizio, trying to find a return kill. The scratchies and the jump, the first death for adapting.
Big play coming out from the jungler Verizio. 100% kill participation. Sure, EUnited only have 3 kills, but the fact that the cat's there at every step of the way is very, very important. Bastet's going to hit her main stride. I know you mentioned late, but Bastet starts swinging in the mid game. Look for that 12-minute mark, and that's when Bastet's going to be very valuable. If Verizio can keep up, he's going to be able to swing the tide of the game along with the on her.
And wow, Raffer even able to defend his own speed buff there. Verizio trying to get the stuff after this stuff, which is really good idea, especially against adapting. Demi making his presence known, forcing out the ult from Pain Devion, getting stunned out, knocked up. Demi needs some follow-up, but without any cooldowns, is going to retreat into safety.
The threat from Chaos a little bit too much for NRG to go ahead and dive too deep, knowing that that long-range stun is certainly available to the mid-lane mage. Panicat gets pulled and jumps away, dashes forward, and he gets 2 spears out before adapting, puts him in the ground. 5 for the jungler.
Adapting is definitely mad. His speed buff is down on the right-hand side, so he goes to the left, instantly invading EUnited's red. Purple not available to be stripped away, but these oracles and left side mids will extend NRG's lead ever so slightly.
I mean, it's a tired sports cliche when you say one team is hungrier than the next, or that this team is a momentum-based team or an emotional squad, but I mean, have you ever spoken to NRG? That's what these guys do. Adapting. Watch his stream. He is pure passion. If he loses a ranked game, it looks like he's going to do something incredible. This is a spot for the Masters LAN for the spring split. This is not something Adapting wants to miss. It's not something the entire team wants to miss. And they're playing it. You know, I wish there was some more tangible analysis to go with it. But at the end of the day, NRG right here, they're just kind of heated.
It could just mean that NRG needed a little bit of warm-up in the earlier set against Team Rival, not able to get the gears running the way they really wanted to. But with that earlier set under the rug, now they can start fresh in this wildcard best-of-3 against a North American counterpart.
Now, one of the things that we like to see about these international matchups is how different the metas are. Right now, hold that. Verizio jumps into Emilito, gets the scratchies and the cats. He's in the sky, but that dot is ticking. Done ticking, shooting the cats as he lands down. Should be safe, thanks to the rotation from the mid lane. and the jungle.
All 3 snipes on the kitties, making sure that Emilito escapes into safety. Nice idea to pick up the ROM here into this Bastet, making sure that you're able to stay in the sky for as long as possible, avoiding the kitties on the bottom. And you could also invest those snipes into the kitties instead of the players if nobody else is going to assist you.
Totally, I love your terminology. The kitties and the scratchies.
Wow.
I'm torn between never do that again and do that again right now.
Wow.
All right, I guess I got what I asked for. 11-11, make a wish. United better wish that things turn around. Although, their last team fight certainly helped things out. NRG earlier on were able to stretch out a 1,000 gold lead thanks to just being dominant in the jungle. But with a couple of kills, United shortened that up to about 500.
I'm looking at the experience gap between these 2 junglers. Hitting at level 12 is adapting, getting the second relic, whereas still Virgil just now hitting level 10, not able to get the kind of farm that he really needs to without the speed buff earlier on that he attempted to take away from adapting. He didn't have the mobility to really ping pong for farm.
Well, it's not even the fact that Virgil is behind per se. It's, I mean, your jungle is higher level than your solo laner. It's just the fact that adapting is going 1,000 miles an hour. You know, this has been the LAN where the old carries start doing their old jobs. We saw Andy just carry his team to victory like it was 2014, and well, adapting's back to his old job as well. 5-1-1 here. He did the same thing on the Nemesis, going 10-0-10 before the game was even finished. Listen, man, sometimes you got to flip the page back and just stick to Old Faithful.
Not done yet. Doing a little bit of poke onto Pain Divion with the Storm Katas, even dashing away into safety with Varizio right around the corner. Typhoon being used. Those kitties get melted along with the Bastet if they can catch up to her.
Still alive is Varizio, adapting on the chase. 40% HP being chased down by Pain Divion, who gets chased away by the long-range shots out of Emilito. Here comes Benji, but again, he's chased away by the rotation from his counterpart, Dimmy. That's enough to make everybody safe. No kills for either team.
Not able to find the stun on the last hit of the ultimate coming out of Benji. Nice little rotation from both of these solo laners, making their presence known, but EUnited getting the worst end of things on the lower health pool, adapting, getting stunned out, including by the Agni, the dash, committing to the kill, but at what cost?
Big play, that's the offensive dash that I don't mind. He had the Aegis ready and available. He had friends waiting in the wings for the assistance. That's the type of offensive dash that I am proud to look at and clap for. Level 1, into a wave, with 2 people, not so much.
Not respecting the kind of crowd control coming out of EUnited, adapting, dying with that purification beads just now coming off a cooldown. So that's going to be another death for this jungler, trying to finish off more mobility, going for the winged blade any single time those kitties or the slow, the declaw coming out of Varizio is going to connect. That'll amplify his movement speed thus further.
I find the Jotun Giraffe very curious. So it's 20% CDR versus the 10% CDR that comes on the Hydra's Lament, and of course, you do get some penetration. But the Hydra's Lament is so much damage, so the Storm Kata is three separate stages of one ability, and in between, you can weave that basic. You can proc Hydras 3 separate times with it, but instead opts to go for the Jotuns.
Sometimes you don't always have the time to sit there. Use your first strike in hand, second strike in hand, third strike to commit into danger, and then use that last in hand. Instead, now you're going to be playing a different Susanoo where you're not weaving in hands in between your Storm Goddess. Instead, you're using the first 2, and then you're using your last third one just to escape into safety.
And with that 20% versus the 10%, you're just going to have more Storm Goddess in general. So a little bit more ability-based than the basic attack hybrid and we're used to seeing out of the Susano. And you know what? Can't argue with that. He's number 2 on the player damage. Number 1 being the high poke solo lane, Arlong Shen. So, oh well, it's working.
Arlong Shen saw his spot in the sun quite a long time ago, but with some of the recent changes, the Fatalis effect now being on his dash instead of his first ability on the steroid, we've seen less playtime, not to mention also the cripple has been removed from his javelin toss, which is still a good ability in general because of the root.
At the same time, him and Boba the dog have had a decent weekend. We saw Deathwalker bring him out and do pretty damn well with it. So Arlong Shen, not a dead character by any stretch of the imagination. Here we are, 15 minutes in. NRG off to an explosive start, 7-4. but the gold tells a different story. Teams only separated by about 700 gold, which is a tie game for all intents and purposes, despite the fact that NRG blew this one open from literally minute 1.
It's still relatively early. We saw how in the last game, it wasn't up until the 18 to 20 minute mark when there was a really big team fight around the gold Fury. And once these team fights happen around that point in time, we're going to see the respawn timers just get delayed a little bit further. The objectives between the gold Fury and the portal demon are going to start getting knocked down one by one. And most of that experience difference that we saw earlier on in the graph is due to, like we mentioned before, these two junglers getting off to 2 different starts.
All hats off to EUnited for hanging on, because this is a momentum draft from NRG. You let a Susano get too far ahead and he can just blow you out of the water. Still 2 levels ahead of the enemy jungler, Verizial, who's sitting level 12. But NRG, they're going to start the Gold Fury without EUnited even knowing. 50% on the objective. Here comes Pain to Beyond. Looking for the belly flop. Here he comes. NRG take down the Gold Fury despite Pain to Beyond's best efforts. The objective goes the other way, and NRG find themselves once more with a real lead. It's 2,000 gold.
There's just not that much burst damage coming out of EUnited. They have to invest into 3 bombs, crush onto Pain, Davion, but adapting. 1v1ing Verizial on the side, Typhoon knocking her out.
Verizial was really depending on Chaos to hit that stun. Unfortunately, Smite, there ain't no such thing as auto-aim. Chaos misses the stun, grabs that one, deals enough damage to Yaman. But had that stun actually come through, Verizial winds up with the kill. Instead, the players wiggle away, and adapting able to turn and burn. So that happens sometimes, but because of it, NRG going to group up 4 men strong here in the mid lane. Hunter staying on the left-hand side, not going to push, as there's 3 players playing defense, and NRG will head back to base.
A little bit of gold in hand after securing that Gold Fury, wanting to make sure that they're going to have their power spike items on a line. Winning Blade also being complete onto Dimmy, so he's going to be very mobile. Ethereal Stab on the side of Yaman, more burst potential out of this mid-mage. And yet again, Raffer doing an interesting idea where he sells his Bumba's Mask, trying to get into a more power spike, going for the Mark of the Vanguard after the Thebes.
Well, I mean, Bumba's Mask, that's one of the nice things about the item. Costs you 500, you sell it for about 300. You're really not spending too much for that item, so you're able to go ahead and do that. We saw earlier in the day, Raffer actually sold his Watcher's Gift like 10 minutes in order to find these other big burst items. Raffer really values the power spike that comes out of some of these bigger items in exchange for his starters.
Now going for the Sovereignty here, trying to get that second aura impressively online. Going for the Hardware Amulet is Pain de Beyond, making sure that he's going to survive some of the magical damage output from Yaman. The Scylla, as the game progresses, is just going to augment a little bit further once every single ability gets maxed out, increasing the magical power.
So NRG sitting up about 2,500 right now, Anatoly. That is not a commanding lead, but they certainly have the wind in their sails, and a little bit of gold on top of that. Nice play by Raffer over the wall, bouncing up Pain to Beyond, but Chaos able to keep the enemy at bay. Jump in from Verizial. The Cat's full commit. A lot of damage onto the Bacchus.
I think Verizial, what he tried to do with the ultimate was to position the God in such a way when deploying the kitties will body block the Raffer.
Not quite going to be happening. I thought that was very curious. Well, I was going to ask where you think NRG go ahead and make their move. Looks like the power play is going to come here in the mid lane. We see the 5 players coalesce and group up, but that's actually not going to be the case. As soon as everybody groups up, they spread out just as quickly.
Not too much action right now after the Scratchies and Kitties were invested in the mid lane. Verizial still looking for some kind of plays wherever he can find it. He's still doing a decent job in terms of the player damage department. He can find the commitment and then pounce on back into safety, as well as Chaos, but it's not really the same case whereas if you look at Dimmy, as well as Adapting, who has just been sitting at that top for so long.
Yeah, I mean, Adapting, he took off early on, and Chaos now stacking some dangerous items with that Spear of Desolation finished, very expensive. Chaos is sitting there and kind of just hanging out with Boots and Bancroft for so long, but now with that Spear of Deso, ton of power, 100 plus, decent amount of pen, and of course, should he get the kill, it's going to reset some of his cooldowns as well, something that Agni is very happy to do, especially if it's that dash to get him out of jail. So right now, expect Chaos to be a much bigger impact in these games.
Only going to get higher in the magical damage department once he finishes off that Rod of Tahuti. Same case can be said with Yaman, though, having that ethereal stat, 5% extra magical damage every 10 seconds off of an internal cooldown, and that extra magical damage can easily be the difference between somebody getting away or not escaping.
Raffer's jumping over the wall looking for Verizial, but the Catman's able to walk away no problem. Not going to be touched so far. Ping's coming out. Speed buff about to respawn, whether that's NRG saying go get it yourself or EUnited signaling for a invade. We'll see in a moment. But here comes Dimmy around the corner being chased by Benji, who's been curiously quiet. Amaterasu, in my opinion, Benji's best god, but hasn't done much just yet.
That's the general story, though, out of Amaterasu's coming out of the Soul Lane. A little bit of a skirmish around the speed buff of energy, but not too many confirmed abilities finding any damage.
It's Raffer, Dimmy, Benji, and Pain and Beyond fighting each other. There's no damage. They're all tanky. Portal Demon started by kind of everybody at once. Very low, 25%. Now Leash looking for the fight instead. Aegis activated, and that doesn't seem to be fruitful. Adapting takes out Chaos anyway. Over the top comes the On Her, still looking for damage. Emilito very low. There's the damage out of Benji, looking for the kill, but he goes right to the sky. Emilito saves his own life, now dishing out the damage.
Panicat doing a lot of damage. Nice little ability from Benji, confirming the kill onto Emilito. 1-for-1 thus far, the root onto a couple members from Energy, but not able to really chase this one down. Just a complete wash, trading out the Hunter for the mid lane.
Verizial on that right-hand side. I like how cautiously he played that. I think some people might get on his case for not going too deep, but that cat can get into a lot of trouble. Realized that he was about half HP and adapting. Should he find a good pull, just obliterates the Bastet from half, so he's got to be careful. Energy have control over the Portal Demon. EUnited trying to wrestle control away from it, 10% on the objective. There's the jump in. Portal Demon goes the way of Energy. And now Benji in a very bad spot. He's in a better place now. Yaman sends him to the fountain.
I'm a monster, confirming the kill. Not able to find the additional hit onto Panicat, but this is a nice staggered death here. As Benji is dead and Emilito respawns, we're going to see a 5-on-4 power play for that 40 seconds, which is why Energy is diving to kill Verizial and getting the tier 1 mid tower at the same time.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of multitask from the defending world champions. 22 minutes in our second game of our best of 3 contest here. Energy wrestled control early on, adapting from the backside, wrestling control out of Panda Cat. And he'll fall down. Chaos doing what he can. One more grab, it's 2 for the jungler. Well done, adapting.
Chaos, though, in a world of hurt. Yaman finding the kill onto Chaos. Tier 1 fell. It's definitely going to be the Tier 2 rewarded to Energy with a deicide.
Team wipe coming out. Energy on top. 14-5 after that skirmish. Well, let's call it a war. And they're up 6,000 as well. They're about to take the Fire Giant, and with everybody off the board outside of Benji, this one looks like a very good look for Energy. Do they take out Benji first? It's a question.
I mean, it's Verizial that is still up. If they invest,
it's a retreat.
If they invest too many cooldowns onto Benji, Verizial is certainly going to be able to clean up any opportunity. Very ambitious was Energy trying to go for the Fire Giant, but it was a great recognition from Benji that he used that teleport right next to the Fire Giant, making sure that objective wasn't taken just yet.
Very important play. I mean, if Benji doesn't make that move, Energy get a Fire Giant, which guarantees 2,000 gold in my eyes. The Tier 1 and the Tier 2 on the right-hand side. Tier 1's basically dead. So very important play. If Benji doesn't show up, well, easy peasy. Instead, Energy have to relinquish control of the FG and go for the GF. They take out the Gold Fury, and now they lead by about 8K.
Not a bad idea to swap out the objectives to go from the right to the left. The easier one that doesn't really fight back too strongly. Not really any sort of objective that you have to control. It's not really like that raid boss that you'll fight that has the mechanics you have to dance around. Gold Fury is just going to hit you hard.
You know, people still can't do the Fire Giant. We watch these games, and I still see pros getting jumped on by FG.
I mean, there are some undetermined factors you can't really predict, such as getting stunned during the knockup, which has happened earlier this weekend. I forget. I think it happened to a European team yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, but that's a different story. I'm talking, you're just fighting the Fire Giant and you get hit. Come on now.
Well, getting hit is Dimmy, barely taking any damage from Verizial. And with this 2v2 of Emilito, Dimmy tanking the tower, easy 500 gold for Energy. The rest of the team grouping up, 2 bombs being deployed. Ultimate from Terra, trying to chase down Rapper, gonna get stunned out.
I like the idea from NRG, but did they commit a little bit too hard? Looks like not. United trying to play defense. Tower finally goes down. Hunter shooting from the sky, not gonna find any kills, but will deal some damage. Arlong and Susano still number 1 and 2 on the player damage, but Chaos slowly creeping up there, using those long-range damage out of the bombs.
It's getting to that late game point where the Agni can certainly look for that long range. Once you get bomb stunned, the second bomb will get confirmed in terms of damage. And like we mentioned before, the items are getting a little bit scarier on the side of NRG, having to deal with Chaos with that Spear of Desolation complete, getting closer and closer to this Rod of Tahuti.
Normally, I'd be asking where the Spear of the Magus is right now for the Chaos Agni. I think the character has a lot of synergy with that item, and stripping protections is always a good thing. I still want to know where it is, but I'm content with this build so far, strictly because the only other magical damage on EUnited is going to be the Terra, which is certainly not as much damage as you might find on some other characters, so I don't mind it. Tier 1 tower goes down easy. Not too much action for it, but Benji, he was zoning. Might be in some trouble. Backside is where the action's going to be at. Adapting, looking for the flank, but everybody gets out safely. NRG now looking for the reinitiation. Pain Divion stops it. Well done.
Between the damage mitigation of the Spirit Sword for Benji, along with the mobility from the Aura and the Wing Blade, able to escape with his life barely there, using the ultimate just to zone to allow EUnited to secure the Tier 1 mid tower. Trying their hardest was NRG to body block and intercept the dash, but too many defenses here and regen every single time that Aura stance switch happens.
And those are the type of plays that EUnited are going to need to do right now. You know, they're trailing by about 7,000 gold, and you got to find these sort of guerrilla warfare type objectives. Go in, siege, get the tower, and then run away really quick before this happens. Benji brought down about half HP, forced into the ultimate. And is a tanky Amaterasu, and NRG still are able to chop him up no problem. Ultimately, he'll go back to the base on his own accord, but with that spacing, that's going to allow NRG to start up and perhaps get, there it is, the Portal Demon.
750 gold right in their bank, having to extend their lead by about 8,000 gold, heading into the 27.5 minute mark. Fire Giant is looking very tempting if you're on the squad of NRG here.
Yeah, I mean, EUnited, they have a lot of tools to go ahead and steal the Fire Giant, thankfully, looking at Chaos. But looking at Verizial, he can jump in and do a little bit of this and that, but the majority of his damage comes from dots. So it's not like he's going to jump in and bang, cracking the objective.
There is some steal potential, but there's forms of 3 bombs over time, whereas Yaman's Monster is just going to be that one big bang that you're looking for towards completing the objective.
Raffer taking the dangerous pathing. He'll be rooted, not stunned. Panicat opting to hang on to his Impale this time around. Find himself half HP. Adapting unleashes the ultimate. Panicat dances around it. He's got his dancing shoes on here. Chaos looking for the long-range damage.
The pull!
A little bit of it, but Panda gets pulled, and Panda gets put to sleep. Adapting is the veterinarian, making sure he's not coming back.
Chaos dashing away into the safety of the mid-Phoenix, but Benji barely able to escape as well. The rest of NRG basically chunking Chaos to crush into the pull, to knock up the snipes. Not on the mark.
There it is.
The last one was, though.
16-5. NRG not done just yet. Dimmy very low, and Benji cleans him up. But the Phoenix is the target halfway down. NRG do not have the life bars to continue the push. EUnited lose 2 members, but they successfully defend the Phoenix.
Ooh,
they get what they were looking for.
Look at Verizial in the back line trying to get onto Yaman, and will successfully do so. 2 for 2 at the end.
Love that stuff coming out of EUnited. They're down, but they're certainly not out. Defending the Phoenix, perhaps one of the more important parts of this game, Tolly.
Trying to go for some offensive plays for themselves. Not feeling confident to go for this Fire Giant, as Panicat has just revived Chaos with an additional 10 seconds. Now finishing off this Rod of Tahuti, we're seeing Pain Divion completing this Mantle of Discord, increasing his tankiness.
I'm loving the vision that NRG has on the right side of the map. 1, 2, 3, 4 separate sentry wards. Even if EUnited decide that they want to start getting a little bit more, they want to pay more attention to the vision, they're just not going to be allowed, because NRG have the sentry wards out there, and they're going to de-ward them at any chance they get. So NRG just commanding this right side because of all the vision. What could have been a sneak on the Fire Giant NRG have every piece of information. Let's go ahead and listen to NRG as they try to defend the objective.
Silo just spawned. Silo just
I'm
spawned.
behind.
Silo just spawned.
Stall.
We good.
K ward.
They dropped it. Yeah, they dropped it.
K
Did
ward.
they use anything?
No.
K ward. K ward. K ward.
I can't. Who can ward?
They may
Yamin.
watch. They may get a ward.
I can ward.
I'm back and forwards. I'm back and forwards.
On fire.
Yeah.
Careful.
Help them there.
Help Erlang.
I can meet you in mids. Just chill. Just chill. Just chill for a minute. Just let Yamin be.
I'm gonna ultra
Yeah.
sustain. I'm here.
Let them see me. I'm gonna ultra sustain.
They're pushing left.
I'm dropping speed.
Yeah. I'm coming.
Let's
I'm coming
fight
around
them,
the long
guys.
way.
Let's fight them.
I'm coming around the long way.
You have actives up?
Clear this, please.
Wait,
we
we can't
can
hold me.
The dash
Do
jam.
no line, do no line.
I got a shell for
Okay,
him.
clear this. Clear this.
We don't
Can
have
we
a
go now? Can we group up?
Yeah, let's group up, let's group up. Do you have meditation, Rapper?
Yeah.
Alright. Let's be
Yeah, we-
ready to use it in the fight.
We need a ward on fire as well. We need to get towards.
Knock him up. Miss. He jumped.
We need
Back off.
sentries.
Back off. Back off.
Yeah,
Need
one is
Push mid
sensors.
up. Push mid up.
Guys, let's discuss this. We need to discuss how to do this. We need to pressure
They're
them
going
in
on
into a
me.
fight.
I dropped it.
We need to get
Can
sensors.
we engage
I'm
on
back.
them?
No, chill,
Force
chill,
their wall.
chill.
I'm getting sentries.
I'm
We're
back and getting a
sentry
center as well.
Okay.
They know I'm back. They see me.
They saw me back as well. Just careful. Don't get poked.
You sentry?
I have no sense.
Chill. Don't get poked before we
I'm
get
getting him.
I heard Honor jump.
On her jump somewhere. They're not on it yet.
Oh, they got my fucking magi's.
I'm gonna ward this. Can you guys come?
I'm back,
Back
I'm
off,
back.
back up.
I'm coming.
They see me back in, they see me back in.
Okay, we have.
Defend this ward now. We don't leave
Let
this ward.
me back quickly, guys. I'll be back in a second.
They've
Please
got a
be
ward on
careful.
Amy.
Back off for now. Just leave the ward if you have to.
Careful.
Let's just get the PK again, okay?
You know, a lot of people like to hear the hooting and holler and the yelling and screaming. I'm actually really happy that we got to listen to that. NRG, I think there was a tinge of dissidence in the ranks, but very quickly it was chased out. You heard, I think it was Emilito saying, look, man, we got to discuss this. We have to figure out how to approach this. And that's really what NRG is about. They want to take a step back. They don't mind a lull in the action, as long as they can reapproach with a strict game plan.
Very calculating his energy, which is why they are the two-time defending world champions. They know what it takes to win, and without a certain plan, you're just destined to fail. Raffer leading the charge for NRG, trying to figure out the right target to belly flop onto.
And it's going to be two separate players. The Intoxicate comes out, but it's just not enough. Great pull out of the jungler. Can they finish up the damage is the question. Verizial, low. Chaos, 0. But Adapting going to pay for that. Panda Cat on the good side.
Not able to find the return kill, is Adapting, but trading out the mid play. Verizial barely able to escape. Nice little route onto Benji, but no follow-up with the crush as the rest of his teammates was able to secure the speed buff from EUnited.
I don't think that's a big enough window to go for the Fire Giant just yet, Toli. Instead, NRG going to look for the Portal Demon. Knockup going to be avoided. Raffer gets impaled, but man, that is a tanky Bacchus. Look at that guy.
Absolutely, especially if he's going to be in that drunk-o-meter on the high end of that, giving him the protections and the magical damage. His items are online. The Portal Demon being started, though, by EUnited.
And they're going to play it safe. Gonna look for a little bit of spacing coming out from Benji. Panda Cat looking more for the offense than the objective here. Now, again, attacking it. EUnited will leash it. They're very afraid of NRG right now.
It's a lot of pushing and pulling between these two teams. Neither one of them really wants to take the bait quite yet, but EUnited still leashing this Portal Demon very low, half health. Demi getting stunned out, not on the target with the Impale. Kitty's coming up. Verizial knocked up, but still no commitment from NRG as they're separated from their solo laner.
I like Panda Cat jumping over the wall there. Had somebody chase down Verizial, he would have been able to follow up with the stun off of the Impale. Pandavion brought down very low by the guys on NRG. Portal Demon also low, now leashed. That could be clean for EUnited, but they don't go for it.
It's all a bait. They don't want to take too much damage from the Scylla at the late game, level 20. That crush basically eliminated a lot of Pandavion's health.
Portal Demon finally taken down by NRG. Benji dashes in, but a little bit too late. There's Benji alone in the back line, looking for the stun. Finds it on 2, but Raffer jumps on top. Big damage out of Yamin, and he's going to seal the deal thanks to Emilito. Benji goes down.
Nice snipes from the Hunter from NRG, finding the first pick. The crush on the marks of pain. Yamin finding the second victim.
Double root. out of the solo lane. Dimmy, great play right there. But NRG, they've opened the window. 2 players down means that only 3 can defend, and a couple of them have to head back to base. This is a free fire.
Without the 2 tanky targets from EUnited, those 3 members, the 3 surviving ones, can't really poke their heads around the corner. There's going to be too much damage in return, and just like that, finally, the Fire Giant being secured by NRG. They're up a comfortable amount of gold now, about 8,000, with a lot of their players having this 6 item slot completed. These Phoenixes are going to start getting targeted.
35 on the clock here. Reminding you all what we're playing for. The winner here goes on to Masters. The losers, we'll see you in the summertime. EUnited absolutely wants to stretch this out to a 3rd game, but right now, NRG look like they're dangling them from the top of a mountain. Hey, Toli.
Hey,
how does EUnited get back in this one?
They are still comfortably not that far behind.
They were only 8K down.
8K at 35.5 minutes. They're about 5.5 items into their build. They can still hold on to these Phoenixes because of Agni in the mid lane for Chaos. The long-range artillery siege damage, along with the control from the stun, is going to make it difficult for the positioning of NRG. They can't clump up together.
Well, yeah, we saw that happen. They were about 7,000, they being EUnited. They were down about 7,000 gold, and they defended this Phoenix the first time NRG came to town and tried to siege. Now, after a couple of other structures, at 9,500 in the lead is NRG. Is that pretty much the same story?
At this point, yeah, they can start investing into some potions now with this kind of comfortable lead. Start even looking for some 3K potions once they're past the 80,000 gold team marker. Stripping away this both towers in the dual lane. Gonna start looking for this most important Phoenix in that dual lane.
And we'll see how it lands out. Most important because of the distance from the Fire Giant all the way across the world. NRG grouped up as 5 here on the left-hand side. These guys are going to be looking for a push. Right now, they're going to be backing off, looking for perhaps the Gold Fury.
Playing very safe is NRG.
Very safe.
They want to secure their spot into Masters. This is no joke for them. You know, after losing to Team Rival in a 3-game set, they're looking to make sure that this one doesn't slip through their fingers.
Which, you know, I want to solidify the fact that Team Rival beating NRG it's not an embarrassment. Team Rival came out to play, and they looked damn good. They looked like a team that absolutely should have beat NRG. And so here, NRG, they might have dialed it up a little bit more here after that loss, but Team Rival 100% earned it. Really big shout-outs to the guys on that team.
Which is why we see them sticking together between Season 3 and Season 4 during the quote-unquote roster apocalypse.
Very important part of what makes that team strong.
Exactly. Their chemistry and synergy has been getting better and better as time went on. Only 3 teams with the same roster between splits. NRG is one of them as well.
And I think that's the story of what's made NRG so strong for a long time. Rafa grabbed 4 players and stuck with them year in, year out. Those guys have been playing together for, I think, 3 years. We showed a video with Yaman, and he said, you know, the question I asked him was, hey, man, what's your competitive background? He said, I've only really been on one team. It's Rafa. It's this team. And this is the team that's looking to siege the left-hand side. You know what? Let's listen to this team. NRG making the push.
They're not smoked. Alright, let's look for the...
That's one.
That's one Agni.
Yeah. Big shell. Come to me for shell. I'm protecting ammo.
Phoenix.
Come to med.
It's all deep.
I've ages.
Go mid, Pat.
Go mid.
Yeah, we should.
I need heals.
Yeah.
We don't have any.
No, safe way.
I'm okay.
Safe way.
Yeah.
Wait a sec.
Whoa.
I'm tanking. If anyone wants to go in.
Did someone ages or something?
We should get the Phoenix here.
Careful.
Did I?
Come on in. Back foot. Just don't aim me. Maybe back after this. I think maybe back. We can push again. Go red.
Back out.
Red up.
That's my beads. I've upgraded active stuff.
Can you come red, Yaman?
No.
Careful. Going for the left Phoenix? Well, except when Rafa decided to not take the safe way, and his entire team yells at him, safe way, like they're trying to go grocery shopping. But either way, The left Phoenix goes down. Mid Phoenix still standing. Right Phoenix still standing as well. Energy take what they get, and they walk away. They get the drive by Portal Demon, and they'll head back to base looking for another siege.
Shopping and purchasing, getting a receipt for that Portal Demon is going to allow them to get back into the area around this Fire Giant, as they're going to sentry ward around this area, making sure they get the vision control, pushing and bullying the rest of EUnited down south into their own section. Left-hand side, Virizial clearing all those fire minions very safely towards that invisible mid-neutral line marker.
That's very, very important. Those fire minions are obviously going to beat up the little guys, but it's about creating the time frame. Right now, NRG basically have a free Fire Giant if EUnited can't control those minions. So by pushing up that far, NRG have to deal with EUnited before they can go for it. The double bounce coming out, but Chaos is the one that gets the kill. 2 on the other side from NRG as Virizial and Panicat fall to the wayside. Yaman uses the ultimate. Benji's still alive for the moment, grouping up his energy, shifting over to the middle lane, and Benji will be safe. It's a 2-for-1.
Just like that, there was so much difficulty for NRG to finally find picks, but all it takes is one knockup from Rapper, confirming so much additional damage from Yaman with the Root Crush combination. The relics, if you look at them, they're both on cooldown for Chaos and Panicat. And Panicat was in a world of hurt.
EUnited have one shot at this. They need to be able to take this Fire Giant right now, or they have to go back and defend the base. Pain Navion can't even get in there. Benji shows up far too late. Fire Giant goes to NRG. 4 players have it as Adapting still sitting out, but I think that's totally fine.
Absolutely. That's going to allow the rest of NRG to utilize this buff for another 3.5 minutes. And once their jungler revives, this is going to be that final siege. Even the Titan taking a little bit of poke to that fire minion wave on the left-hand side that got left slightly uncontested.
I'm not concerned about that much poke, Tolly. If the Titan goes down with that much damage, it's going to go down either way. When you start seeing a quarter or more damage, that's when it starts to becoming really troublesome.
Well, I gotta tell you, any damage kind of counts here. If you look at the earlier set here, where the Hu Yi on Emilito secured the kill with the jump from Team Rival, the only game that NRG won against Team Rival was very closely decided by that one ability.
Salt in the wound right there. The only game they won. Ouch. That was rough.
It's true, though.
No, it was rough. It was true. Right now, the Salt Machine himself, Benji, trying to do his best here to prevent NRG from continuing this push. 2-4-4 is the solo laner that joined the team halfway through, and he's really been a big part of how EUnited have been able to defend these Phoenixes so successfully. Benji and the long-range damage out of the mid lane mage has been a big deal, and you can see NRG playing extra careful because they know that stun is going to come.
He wasn't making his presence known in the earlier game, but now that the level 20 Amaterasu is here, making sure that dive in the backline, but getting pulled into danger. Pain Navion taking a lot of poke, but barely able to escape. Not until Emilito finds the snipe.
Looking for the basics as well. Adapting will be the one that cleans it up off of the assist from the Hunter. Yaman gets one all to himself. It's 3 down. Add that to the Phoenix. Bounce on top of Virizial. The cat, he does not have 9 lives. He'll fall down. 2 for Yaman. With 4 players sitting out, Tolly, I think this one's going to be NRG.
It's all Panicat left alone with a Titan. Everyone from NRG here to secure the second game in the best of 3 set. And NRG, they're going to Masters.
We will see you in the summertime.